How many of you in this room actually know who I am and what I do exactly? Raise your hands. Okay, great, 5 people. That hurts. I should give you a little bit more context on who I am. And to do this, we need to go back 8 years ago. 8 years ago, I had one of the most traumatic experiences in my life. I was in university, and I was studying accounting. It's bloody tragic. However, I was fulfilling the Asian prophecy. Yeah. A lawyer, a doctor, or an accountant. And in Australia, the accounting degree is called Commerce and Law. It's a 5-year degree. And I just want you to imagine you were there for a second. 6 months to go before I finish my degree, I come home and I have the following conversation with my parents. So just imagine you were there, this is exactly how it happened. 6 months to go. I come home, I say, Mom, Dad, I love you. It's taken me all my life to build the confidence to tell you this. I'd like to quit university. My mum immediately starts crying. Impossible to cry that quickly. But she knows that if she cries, my dad gets pissed off. Yeah. So at this point, I kid you not, my dad rolls up his sleeves, walks up towards me and he gives me one of these. He goes, sorry, for those of you who don't know, that's what Bruce Lee does before he kicks your ass. Recognizing the signs of danger, I said, Dad, no, just wait. There's one more thing I need to tell you, Dad. Dad, do you remember the investment property you purchased in 2001? And you said it was for me, for motivational purposes. Dad, University Commercial Law 1 and 2 stated you and I had a verbal contract. That property's mine. And I'd like to sell it and use $100,000 of your money to build a business on the internet. To teach magic tricks. No one was clapping for that. And I kid you not, for those of us not on the same page, I just told a 60-year-old Vietnamese man who's been through the war on a boat for 2 weeks to get to Australia to give his son an education, I just told him I wanted to be Harry Potter. So my dad, those of you who have kids will know, so my dad, he's so angry now, he has no idea what to do. Looks to my mum who's now crying for real, leaves mid-conversation, walks over, picks up my mum, and they both walk into the kitchen. And I'm left there in the lounge room thinking, what? Why would you go to the knives? Are in the kitchen. I try not to panic, I try to stay calm. But then they whisper. And when my parents whisper, it's a bad thing. So my imagination goes wild. I'm thinking, what are they saying in there? And this is what I'm thinking my dad's saying. Dad is probably saying something like this to my mum. Something like this. Don't worry, honey, don't worry. Okay? We kill this boy tonight. Okay? Kill him. Honey, don't worry, okay, tonight. Tonight. We make another one, okay? Thank you for laughing, it wasn't even a joke. My brother was born as a result. We're over a decade apart, and my brother, straight A student, you get these things in Australia called A20s, which are perfect A's, and guess what he's studying at university now?
Magic.
Medicine. What a jerk. So for a long time I felt like my parents felt like they had one son, my brother. But about 15 minutes pass. Then my mum and dad gradually come out of the kitchen. And they say something that I don't expect. And my friends, it's very difficult to surprise a magician, mind you. And you have to know one more thing about my dad before I tell you what he's saying. My dad is the oldest brother of 7 brothers. He was the one that made the decision to flee Vietnam during the war, leave everything behind to try to find a new home for his unborn children. I wasn't even born yet, and my dad thought of me. He's a pretty cool guy. So my dad and my mum, they both come out. And my dad says to me, he goes, "Boy, I did not risk my life. I did not risk the lives of all your uncles, all your aunties, especially your mum and your grandparents. I did not risk everybody's life in our family to try to find a new home, to try to find freedom, to then force you to do something you don't want to do." And the most beautiful words came next. When my dad said to me, "Son, in this life, you owe me one thing. I want you to get this, boy. You owe me one thing in life. You have to jump as high as you can, son, and as long as I'm alive, I'll forever be your net." Thank you. Obviously, I tested that theory. I'm going to help for sure. But you see, every single step of the way, every single time I fail, my mum and dad would then remind me that failure is just a detour. It's not a destination. Every single time all my university friends would outcast me because I was a university dropout, my mum would remind me that all this adversity you're going through, that's the very training you need to become great. And every single time I needed an extra $200, Dad was there. Charged a ridiculous interest rate, should have just went to the bank. Why do I tell you this though? I tell you all of this because I want you to know who I am. And more importantly, I would have never achieved any of the things I've achieved in my life. I wouldn't be the man that I am today if it wasn't for the sacrifices my mum and dad have made, and those before them. Thank you. Thank you. I believe the same to be true for you. As you sit here right now, you would not be where you are. You would not have become the person that you've become if it wasn't for the sacrifices your family have made and those before them. So one more round of applause for your family. Brilliant. Now you see, this evening is not about me, this evening is all about you. I'd love to share with you 4 things that have allowed me to continually jump as high as I can in my life. Now I am part magician, so I will bring in some of you on stage. So let's get one thing clear. If I pick you and you look away, I can still see you. So please, if we could just have this as common knowledge among us all, we shall begin the keynote. One last thing I have to remind you of. There's a box here. There's something very important in this box that I will show you at the end of the keynote presentation. Please, if I can get maybe this part of the room, keep your eye on this box, make sure no one touches this box, takes anything out, or puts anything in. Does that make sense? Don't even watch me, just watch the box. On that note, we shall begin. Now I'm going to need... Oh, you're probably thinking, did you build the online business? Did you sell the house? Yes, we did. Never lost so much money so quickly before. Now, that gave birth to Encyclopedia of Magic. Encyclopedia of Magic, as you look on the slides, that's the first business I built that teaches magic tricks. I did this in 2011. And since then, we've now rebranded, and we're now known as 52 Cards. And now, just as you've heard, the updated number that we serve now, we serve just over 900,000 students from all over the world. Thank you. My parents have 2 sons again. I'm back in the game. Yes. In your face, younger brother. In your face because you got me the title of Young Entrepreneur of the Year. But you see, here's the thing. The last thing you need to know about me is that I teach people communication skills. I teach people how to find their voice. I teach people how to use their voice to craft experiences for those they serve. And on that note, that's me in a nutshell. Let's begin. So who here in the room has never experienced close-up magic before? Raise your hands. If you've never experienced close-up magic, please raise your hands nice and high. Keep them up, please. I'm going to go with The lady there with the black shirt with the half hand going, damn, he picked me. Yes, it's you. Yes, it's you. Join me on stage. Big round of applause for her. She joins me on stage, please. Lovely. Oh, thank you. Thank you very much indeed for volunteering. Yes, of course. Now, my name's Vinh. What's yours? Candice. Candice, before today, have you ever heard of me before? That's slightly offensive, Candice. Have a seat. Thank you. So, Candice, the game we're going to play now is very simple. It's just called, which hand is the tissue in? It's riveting. I know. How exciting. So, Candice, it looks like this. I'll put it behind my back. Candice, which hand is the tissue in? Point to it. Which hand? It's in the other one. Yeah. No, I'm a magician. I lie. Yeah, I lie. That's again. Very sweet of you, but go with your own gut feeling. Don't let me influence you. But don't let me influence you. So we'll try this again. I go once, twice, thrice. Which one's it in now? What would you say? It's in the other one. No, it's in the other one. I was telling the truth this time. Sometimes I lie, sometimes I tell the truth. I wanted you to win. Try this again. Try this again. Once, twice. I'll do it very slowly so you can see. Point to one you saw going to. No, watch. You can't just watch. Yes or no? Most amazing thing you've seen in your life. Correct answer, thank you. We'll try this again, Candice, with another piece. Don't take your eyes off this. Candice, watch. Once, twice, thrice. Which one's it in now? What would you say? It's in the other one. No, she seriously is. No, I want you to win. It was. I was telling the truth. Candice, I'm very honest about my dishonesty. So let's try this again. Try this again. I'm a nice magician. So watch this. Should I go once, twice? I'll do it nice and slow so you can see. Point to one you saw going. No, wait. Watch Candice. No, wait. You know what Candice is thinking right now? She's thinking, oh, where did they go? So Candice, I know this is going to be crazy. I just want you to reach behind your neck. Under your hair. It would have been amazing if it was there. I was just kidding. No, that would have been bloody amazing. Candice, I have to tell her how this is done so she can join in on the point. So Candice, if you just look behind you. Oh, interesting, 2 pieces of tissue. Yes. Candice, all I did was I went once, twice, and I threw it over your head. That was all. Give her a big round of applause. You're so lovely, Candice. Big round of applause for Candice. Clapping, childishly simple trick. But here's the thing. Why did I do this? You must always question why I do the things I do. I use magic as my metaphor. So you see, people often ask me one question. They say, Vinh, what is magic? If you had to define it, what is magic? Magic is just the problem you can't solve. What was the problem that Candice could not solve for the life of her? How does Vinh get his hair so blonde? No, the problem that she could not solve was where did the tissue go? This guy is amazing. She could not solve this problem, yet every single one of you in this room could. The question is why? Perspective. Very early on in my entrepreneurial journey, every single time there was a problem that I could not solve. The reason I couldn't solve the problem wasn't because there was no solution. The reason I couldn't solve the problem was because I'd fallen victim to a silo mentality. And I started looking at things from one point of view, my own. And then I made assumptions about what was possible for me and my family. If I'd asked somebody else for help, the solutions would have been this clear. Candice is sitting there slightly pissed off at this point. My friends, there are no solutions. There are no problems you cannot solve. You just have to collaborate with as many perspectives as you can. Other people can see things in you cannot see in yourself. So I thought to myself, how can I... Oh, thank you for clapping. You are lovely. So I thought to myself, how can I prove to an audience of 7,000+ people that perspective is power, instead of just proving it to one person, Candice? That's my challenge as a speaker, is not to tell you what I believe, but to prove to you what I believe. So I created a video. So I'm going to bring a video up on screen. And as you watch this video, it's a trick. It's a trick I want you to see if you can solve this problem. See if you can solve it. Here we go. What you're about to witness is one of the oldest psychological illusions in the world. Now before we go any further, I want you to make sure that every single card here is in actual fact different. That is the first thing I want you to notice. The second thing is I want you to see that the backs are all actually blue. Now the interesting thing about the colour blue is the psychological implications it actually has on the human mind. Now if you're actually here, I'll get you to cut the cards and you can pick any card you'd like at random. Because you're not, let's just go with a random card here. Let's say that's your chosen card, okay? Remember that card. It's very important you actually do remember that card. Because if you don't, this next bit actually won't make sense. So, look, I understand that this card here isn't your card, okay? I understand that the 10 isn't. But I want you to pretend that you can visualize your card in that 10 there. So watch. If you have a look at this card here, the funny thing is, it becomes your card. Now, did you see the change? Did you see? Not the change there, that's not the change I'm talking about. Did you see this change here? You see, because if you didn't see this change, then chances are you didn't see this change. Every single card becomes red. Every single one. And this right here is one of the oldest psychological illusions in the world. Every time I show this trick, people always say one thing. They say, Vin, why did you show us a video? Why didn't you do it here live? Are you a crummy magician? I said, no. The reason I show you a video is because if I did it here live, you'd have over 7,000 different perspectives in this room. Of course you could solve it. But if I showed you a video, all you could see was one perspective, the perspective of my cameraman. The only thing you could see was what he was showing you. As a result, you had one perspective, a silent mentality. How can you solve that? Highly improbable. So what I did on the exact same day is I put another camera in the corner to film the exact same thing. So I'm going to show you now the exact same thing from a completely different perspective. So this is the same thing from a completely different point of view. Here we go. And now, in place. What you're about to witness is one of the oldest psychological illusions in the world. Now before we go any further, I want you to make sure that every single card here is in actual fact different. That is the first thing I want you to notice. The second thing is I want you to see that the backs are all actually blue. Now the interesting thing about the colour blue is the psychological implications it actually has on the human mind. Now if you're actually here, I'll get you to cut the cards and you can pick any card you'd like at random. Because you're not, let's just go with a random card here. Let's say that's your chosen card, okay? Remember that card. It's very important you actually do remember that card. Because if you don't, this next bit actually won't make sense. So, look, I understand that this card here isn't your card, okay? I understand that the 10 isn't. But I want you to pretend that you can visualize your card in that 10 there. So watch. If you have a look at this card here, the funny thing is, it becomes your card. Now, did you see the change? Did you see? Not the change there, that's not the change I'm talking about. Did you see this change here? You see, because if you didn't see this change, then chances are you didn't see this change. Every single card becomes red. Every single one. And this right here is one of the oldest psychological illusions in the world.
That's awesome.
Did all of you see the gentleman do this?
Yeah.
It took 37 takes to get right. We're there for 9 hours. But you see, with the second perspective, how many of you solved the problem? How many of you saw me switch out the cards? You saw it? You solved the problem, which at first seemed impossible. Well, what's even more interesting about the second perspective, the second video, is how many of you with the second video then noticed all the changes that were happening around me. Do you know what those changes represent? Opportunity. Far too often in life, when we get stuck in a silent mentality of our own heads, we're not able to solve the problems in front of us effectively, productively, and quickly. But more than this, we don't see all the wonderful opportunities that exist all around us. In psychology, they call this change blindness. My friends, the way we're going to be able to create more magical moments for ourselves, our families, and those we serve, is if you collaborate with one another. You seek a different perspective. Even people from outside of your industry, they will bring things into your industry that you've never seen before. Collaboration is the path to success. I would have never been here, I wouldn't be here, I would have never built the online business if it wasn't for an online business person, their perspective. If I spent all my time with just magicians, I would have never built the online business. An online business person saw an opportunity I could not see. So I thought to myself, if I show you the importance of perspective, what perspective can I share with you from my world as a communication teacher? So I need 5 people. I will bring you up. I'll go for lady number 1 with her hand up just in front. Yes, with the curly hair. Number 1, join me. The lady there with the blonde hair. Yes, it's you, ma'am. Thank you, with the rainbow dress. Number 3, I'm going to go for the lady pointing at other people next to Candace, actually. Yeah, the lady, yeah, you're going to join me. You're number 3. Come on, join me on stage. I need 2 men as well. The gentleman there crossing his legs, laughing as well. Going, haha, you didn't pick me, but I did. So join me quickly as you can. Quickly as you can. One more person. I'm going to go for the gentleman there in the black shirt. Please give these 5 people a big round of applause. Big round of applause. Good. Thank you. Very kind of you. Okay, if I could just make this kind of girl, boy, girl. Otherwise, it freaks me out. So yes. Oh, good. Thank you. Now I can relax. The game we're going to play, I use magic as my metaphor, remember, is a trick that magicians used to perform in the early 1900s. So I've got a packet of cards here. All the cards are different. And I'm just going to wrap a rubber band around it so you don't drop them, okay? I'm a bit nervous, so don't drop them. And then I want you to hold the packet of cards very close to yourself, the 5 people on stage. And when I tell you to, and you have the packet of cards, I want you to lift it up, look at one card only, remember it, lock it into your memory. You don't have to take the card out, it's a memory thing. Okay, so please, if you can look at one card, please don't look at her card. Quickly as you can, get a card in your hand, pass it to the next person quickly as you can. And then once you see it, remember the value of the suit, the color. If it's a picture, remember the picture. Say it to yourself over and over and over again. Please, don't forget this card. Because if you did, the trick would be crap. Right, well, thank you. You've got this. Did anybody think of the bottom card, King of Hearts? No? Too easy. Good, thank you. So this is the game. Everybody on stage is currently thinking of a card. No one knows what it is, including me. So we play a game called Truth or Lie. So in a moment I ask them questions. They can choose to tell the truth or a lie about their card. I have to work out which one's a lie, which one's the truth to work out what their card is. Hands behind the back. Something to hide. Much nicer pose. Thank you. Good. And good. So I'm going to ask the first question to you, Melissa. Was the card red or black?
Black.
Good. Thank you. You can lie sometimes. Was it red or black?
Red.
Good. Was it red or black?
Black.
Red or black?
Black.
You're very good at this. Red or black? Black. Good. Thank you. So when we get caught out for lying, we tend to tell the truth. So thank you for telling the truth. Red or black?
Red.
Was it odd or even? Oh, stop. The pause and the hesitancy there tells me she's thinking, wait, it's a picture card. I'm not sure if it's odd or even. And the smile confirms, I think I know what your card is, thank you. That's good. Good. Was yours, yes or no, was it a 10?
No.
Truth. You can tell again. Very sincere pose, very relaxed. Our shoulders tend to rise as we lie. Was it a 9?
Yes.
Too much eye contact, that's a lie. Very easy to tell. Very easy to yes. Oh, what a lie. I think I know what yours is, so thank you. What colour was it again? Red. Good, sometimes hard to remember lies. That's fine, that's fine. And was yours a 4?
No.
Was it a 5?
No.
Was it a 9?
Yes.
Lie again, so thank you, that's too easy. Good. I think I know what yours is too. And what's your name, sorry? Brian. What did you have for breakfast? Eggs. Good, I know what yours is too. Thank you, that's good. And well, name a number from 1 to 10. 5. Name another number from 1 to 10. 2. I'm going to name 5 cards. Please keep a poker face. Look at the audience so it builds more pressure for you. Don't react if you hear your card. Keep a poker face. Look at the audience. I'll name 5 cards. 5 cards. Listen very carefully. Listen very carefully. Sorry. What colour was it again?
Black.
2 of hearts, 7 of clubs, Jack of clubs, Queen of diamonds, Ace of spades. If I named your card, walk back to your seats now. No lying. Give him a big round of applause, please. Big round of applause. Good. Good. Okay. Now listen. The question I ask you immediately after I perform this is, who here in the room believes they can come on stage and do this trick now? Okay, good. 1% of you. Good. Now what's interesting is you have to ask yourself the question, when you see something impossible, like when you see some people here on stage who have achieved amazing success, it looks so impossible, you always must question, how can I do that? How can I do what they've just done? As opposed to thinking, oh, it's impossible, I can't do it. So why can only 1% of people feel like they can do this? Because the majority of you just don't know how. It's not that you're not capable, it's just that you don't know how. There's a knowledge gap. You don't have the motivation. And listen, so what does that mean? It means you need a magician's perspective. So I will tell you how this trick is done. So you see, if you had the magician's perspective, which I'll give you now, can the cameras kind of just, is this one? Hello. As I bring this packet of cards closer to you, if you look at the cards, you'll notice something quite peculiar. Every single 5 cards is exactly the same. How do you like me now? Now, let me ask you, I'll ask you the same question I asked you a minute and 22 seconds ago. Who here now, with a magician's perspective, believes they can come on stage and perform this now? Raise your hands. Do not feel shy. Raise your hands. Look around you. Every single hand is in the air. Yet a moment ago, it felt impossible, utterly impossible to you, because you didn't know how. Perspective is power. My friends, one of the biggest illusions in life is not this trick. One of the biggest illusions in life is great communication skills. One of the biggest illusions in life is what I'm doing right now. People look at this and go, oh wow, I wish I could speak like the speakers I saw at this conference. I wish I could do what they do. But it's too hard, I'll never get there, I'm not good enough. Wrong. You're wrong. And you're wrong because you just don't have a communications teacher's perspective. I'm going to give you the 5 foundations to communication. Why? This is a leader's instrument. This is the instrument you use to craft the experiences for those you serve. This is the instrument you use to craft the experiences for your family and those that you love. You master this instrument. This is the very instrument that is the tide that lifts all boats. Just like there are 5 cards over and over again to master communication, there are 5 things too. You see, the first thing is rate. Rate of speech. Far too often when people communicate, just imagine, I'll give you an example. If I was up here for the next hour and I kept the same rate and I always speak at the same rate, what happens to you in the back of your head? You're thinking, oh my goodness, I wish you would change his rate. You must vary your rate of speech. You must vary it. There are times when you've got to go quickly, but then there are times you've got to go slow. Now the second thing, very important as well, the second thing is volume. So important. What does volume show? Because imagine again, if I came out here on stage and I said, hi everyone, my name's Giang, and I cannot wait to inspire you all. I'm feeling very motivated. You'll be thinking to yourself, he doesn't believe what he says. He doesn't seem confident. He doesn't seem like he has any authority. But if I keep coming out and shouting at you, you'll be thinking, my goodness, I hope he shuts up. You must vary your volume. Because intensity isn't just created with a loud voice. You can always bring it in, and it draws people in. In gangster movies, when the gangsters say their lines, they never say, you're dead, mate. They always say, you're dead, mate. And then you poop your pants. Very important. The next thing, tonality. Tonality. Now this one easily is the most important. What does tonality mean? Tonality is you feeling your words. You need to feel them. Far too often we go through life throwing away the emotional meaning behind words. We say, I love you to our family, love it. Love it. Feel it. There are 2 types of audience members that will potentially come up to me after I finish the keynote. The first one will be like this. The first one will come up to me and say, Vinh, that show was amazing. Thank you for coming tonight, inspiring us all. Person number one. Person number two will come up to me and say, oh my God, Vinh, that was amazing. Thank you so much for coming this evening. You deeply inspired me. Was person number one or person number two more effective at showing their appreciation? Two. But you know what the sad part is? Person number one appreciated me even more than person number two. We must feel the words we say. We must feel them. Good. The next one. Perfect. The next one is pitch. Again, the majority of us in this room can hit 6 different notes with ease. Yet often we get stuck with just one pitch. And then when we speak with one pitch again, people start to get a bit bored. But then we get excited, so we have another pitch all of a sudden, and then we go back down to this pitch again. You have 6 different pitches you can hit. Have more melody in your voice. You will engage and create better experiences for those you serve. And the final one, here we go. Pause. How excruciating. But this pause is when you give people time to think. This pause is when you give yourself time to think about what you're going to say next. And this pause, do you know what else it does? It gets rid of the ums and the ahs. These are the 5 foundations. If you apply this to your life, you will learn to master this instrument. This is a leader's instrument, my friends. For you to achieve your dreams, you must master the 5 foundations of communication. Good, thank you. Now, the next part of the presentation is one I call influence. So I'll bring up the next slide. Influence. This particular experiment I want to try with you all, it was banned on live TV. But this is in person, so it's fine. I need a very particular person, so please genuinely take part in this experiment. If you can see me on the screens, please pay attention to the screens, or if you're up close, then please pay attention to me. I'd like you all in the room to think of a number between, say, I don't know, 1 and say 10, and get that number in your head very clear, please. If you're thinking of the number 7, please stand. Don't lie, please stand if you're thinking of the number 7. Good, healthy majority of you, this is good. So let me ask you again, those people who are standing, you are still in the game. I see some people who just started to stand, you liars. That's fine. So those of you who are standing now, you need to think of another number between 1 and 10. Not 7, but one that feels right for you. If you're thinking of the number 3, stay standing.
Oh my God.
If you're thinking of the number 3, stay standing. No lying, no lying. I'm going to ask the lady there wearing the white, what's your favorite color? Nice and loud, please. Yellow. No. The lady over there with, funny enough, the yellow top on. What's your favorite color? Yellow. If you had to pick a different one? Red, compliant. Could you join me on stage, please? Give her a big round of applause as she joins me, please. Big round of applause. Good. Quickly as you can, quickly as you can. Hi. What's your name? Caitlin, Vinh, nice to meet you. Caitlin, if I could get you to stand just there, please. And Caitlin, face me. Caitlin, I'm going to give you the wonderful opportunity to win 50 cents Australian. Yes. Yeah, I know. Worth less than it is here in the United States. So Caitlin, I want you to hold it behind your back like this, okay? Yes, just like that, between the tips of your fingers. Now, I'm not going to look at you as you decide which hand you want to put it in. Can I just bring up my slides again, if you don't mind, to the team in the back? I just want you to bring up my slides and look good. Can you see my slides over there? Okay, good. You can see it's about influence. So don't let me influence you. Okay? So, Caitlin, I'll say one thing before I begin and before you make your choice. Caitlin, in a moment, I want you to put the coin in the hand that feels right. Okay? And the hand you have left, just leave it empty. Whatever that means, I'll close my eyes and just kind of make your decision. Bring your hands forward like this, please. Good. Do you feel that was a free choice? No. Did you hear what I said? I said, put the coin in the hand that feels right and leave the one that's left empty. She's up here a little bit nervous. She puts it in the right hand. Could you open your right hand, please? Yes, good. That's 1 out of 4. Behind your back, please. You are perfect for this, Caitlin. Perfect. So, Caitlin, you just put it in the right hand. What do you think most people do now? Put it in the left. Correct. But you don't have to do this, Caitlin. Just do what feels right. Make your own decision. It's a free choice. And then bring your hands forward, Caitlin. Now, do you feel that was a free choice? No, it's not a free choice again. Because when I say right, do you know what she's thinking? Here's bluffing. And then do you know what she thinks? She goes, but wait, could it be a double bluff? And then very quickly she goes, oh my goodness, could it be one of those legendary triple bluffs? No one knows what a triple bluff is. So this time she puts it in the left. Could you open your left? Yes, it was good. That's 2 out of 4. Again, behind your back, thank you. You're very good at this game. This is fantastic. So here's the thing, Caitlin. There are two choices left. Sorry, I don't mean put it in the left hand. I'm just saying there are 2 choices left. You can't get this wrong. You can only get this left. Free choice, make your own decision, and then bring your hands forward, please, Caitlin, if you don't mind. And again, yeah, you want to change your mind, stick. Stick. It's inevitable. The 3rd time she goes, I've been changing hands too often. I better keep it in the same hand for once. That's exactly what I wanted to do. Could you open your left foot? Yes, good, that's 3 out of 4. Behind your back again, behind your back again. Caitlin, you're so good at this, I'm just going to tell you what you're going to do now. So, Caitlin, I know you're going to put it in the right hand. So don't. But you can. I'm just saying, it's a free choice, okay? You know what she's thinking right now? I hate this guy. Yeah. So Caitlin, just think about this. Free choice, up to you. 1 choice left. Go for it, make a decision, bring your hands forward. And to the people behind you, can't even see which hand she puts it in. It's so far away, right? So if you turn and face them for a second. The last one is inevitable. I played this game thousands of times. The last one always has to be the left. Open your... Yes! 4 times! I'm so sorry, Caitlin. No 50 cents for you. Big round of applause for Caitlin. This is going to freak you out. So I had to come into this room before all of you have arrived this evening. And we set up the stage in a very specific way without you noticing. So when someone like Caitlin comes along, when you walk through the doors, you're gonna freak out. When you walk through the doors, yes or no, were you thinking of an animal when you walked in?
No.
Crap. It's okay, it's obviously not my fault, it's yours. So, okay, it's not a cat or a dog, it's not a cat or a dog, okay? That's too simple, let's try to come up with one now. You'll think of the animal I want you to think of, it's gonna freak you out. We can do it now. It's not a cat or a dog, do you have one? Do you want to change your mind? Means you have the right one. So for the first time, in a very loud voice, tell everybody what the animal is. It's got to scare. This is
A zebra.
It's exactly what I wanted her to think of. Thank you very much for that, Caitlin. It was a zebra. Thank you. Give her a big round of applause. Thank you, Catherine. Caitlin, thank you. Of course, zebra. Yes. So you're probably thinking, what the hell was this? Let me explain. I did this to prove to you that influence is one of the most powerful forces in life. But I don't want to just prove this to Caitlin, and you understand in a moment. I want all of you to hold out your right hands like this. Hold out your right hands. Please genuinely do this. Right hands. Turn your right hands upside down. Point all your fingers together. Bend your arm 90 degrees. This next bit, do as quickly as you can. Please don't hurt yourselves. As quickly as you can, take the point. Everyone go to your cheek. Turn to the person next to you and say, that's your chin, not your cheek. That's your chin. Your chin. And listen.
Put it on your cheek.
Some of you went, wait, what? Doesn't count. Means you still fell for it. And just in case, for those of you wondering, Caitlin also fell for that too. Now listen, what is that an example of? That is an example of visual 95% of the room do exactly what I do. They don't do what I say. It's called visual influence. We just call it Simon Says, right? Up here on stage with Caitlin is a game of what I call linguistic influence. It's a game of words that when said in the right way, with the right tonality, with the right rate, you can influence people. And what's fascinating is, I cannot do any more to prove to you the power of influence. You spend time with a new group of people, they might have a new slang, then you find yourself coming home and using that slang. It's incredibly powerful, this influence, and we should use it to our advantage. And this next lesson, I remember learning it from one of my early mentors named David Griggs. And he said, Vin, if you just get this one thing, you can have anything you desire in your life. I was like, sounds too good to be true. But he proved it to me. And this simple lesson has profoundly changed my life. If influence is real, and you can see the effects of influence, then this next statement is true. You are the direct reflection of the top 5 people you spend time with. You're the direct reflection of the top 5 people you spend time with. This is a wonderful quote by Jim Rohn, a speaker and author in the US. Unfortunately, he passed away, but his message lives on. But no matter where you go in the world, this statement is what binds those successful together. They understand this to its core. Because what does this mean for us in the future? This is a kind of evaluation of us in the present. But what does it mean for us in the future? It means you can choose who you become in the future by deciding who you spend time with today. You're the direct reflection of the top 5 people you spend time with. Now, I've applied this time and time and time again in my life. Let me give you an example. I'm here on this stage right now because of that lesson. I wanted to be a speaker for so many years, since I was in my mid-20s. And I said to David Griggs, my mentor, I said, David, I want to become a speaker. What do I do? And David goes, oh, Vin, if you want to be a speaker, you need to do 2 to 4 years of theatre, learn how to use your body. It's an instrument. You need to do 2 to 4 years of singing classes to learn how to use your voice. Funny enough, David had a school for theatre and singing. Yeah. I did the 2 schools. 2 years later, no speaking career in sight. I went up to David, I said, David, what is going on, mate? Where's the speaking career? He looked at me and he goes, oh, Vin, you're an idiot. You spent all of your time with 4 magicians in a bunker underground doing magic tricks. He's a speaker in Australia. And he was speaking in Sydney. I flew myself to Sydney, I was in the audience like you are now. And I said, when this man speaks, I really feel, he's a great speaker. I need him in my top 5. But he's made hundreds of millions of dollars in his life, too successful for me to reach out to. But I still made sure I emailed him every single 8 days. Yes. 8 days, because then every week he gets it on a different day. Keep things fresh. 6 months later, you will not believe what happens. He blocks me. Yes. But I believed in this lesson so much. I don't give in. So about 1.5 years in, I keep trying multiple methods, but I believed in this so much, I went crazy, spent all of my savings, and I purchased 1,000 of his books. My wife was very angry. I took this photo, I sent it to him, and I said, Matthew, please, I believe in what you believe. Please just give me 15 minutes of your time. A week later, he calls me. I knew because I'd saved his number. It rung once and I was like, Matthew! Kid you not, these were his exact words to me. Vin, you cheeky bastard. In a week's time, I'm going to give you an hour, my friend. That was in 2014, and since then, we've become best friends. Matthew took me to Poland, his home country, for 4 weeks to teach me how to build my speaking career here in the US. I gained his perspective, but something more powerful than perspective. I'm from a small town in South Australia called Adelaide. About 1.4 million people live there, from a refugee family from Vietnam, had nothing growing up, didn't believe it was possible to one day be speaking on a stage to such incredible human beings. I didn't believe this was possible. Matthew influenced something more profound than my traits and my skills. Matthew influenced my beliefs about what was possible for me. I didn't believe this was possible for me. but he changed the beliefs I had about what was possible for me. My friends, for you to achieve the goals that you desire, who are in your top 5? Who do you need in your top 5? You're the direct reflection of the top 5 people you spend time with. Good. Thank you. Now, for the next part, this is probably the most difficult part of the evening. I've picked 7 people already. I'm watching you as much as you're watching me. So please don't be alarmed. The stage is my home. So when I point to you, please just stand. Don't resist. It makes it rather awkward for yourself. So I'll pick 7 people already picked you. Gentleman sitting right at the front, right there. There you are. You're not looking at me. Yes, it's you. Yes, if you could. No, you can do this. It's fine. Yeah, that's fine. Thank you very much for that. That's the gentleman behind. Thank you. Number 1. Number 2, the gentleman there with the hat with the backwards. You're number 2, thank you. Yes, thank you, stand. Number 3, there's a lady just sitting there with a black floral dress, blonde hair, lovely shade of blonde. Going, no, he picked me, good. 3, 4, the gentleman with the white shirt and the tie that just kind of leaned forward just now with the glasses and the red. I can't not be any more specific, it's you, sir. Yes, yes. No, just stay where you are, just stand where you are, you don't have to come up. And then there's another lady sitting there, crossing her legs and looking at the screen and going, oh no, he's looking directly at me. Blonde hair there with the glasses, smiling, going, yes, they're all pointing at you. Yes, good. 1, 2, stand up please, sir. Stand up, stay standing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right there. Don't look around. No, it's you. Yeah, it's you, yes. Please stand. 6 and 7, the lovely lady just sitting in front. Please, if you could stand for me. Yes, it's you. Please do so. It's you. Please give these 7 people a big round of applause. The 7 of you have a very important task. You need to think of a number between 1 and 45. Not necessarily 45 or 1, just somewhere in between, okay? And the most common number to be picked is 37. So don't pick it. But you can. Free choice. The only rule in the game is if somebody else picks your number, you've got to pick a different one. That's all. So the gentleman over there, you will need to scream your numbers out nice and loud. Between 1 and 45, not necessarily 37. What would you like? Nice and loud, please. 33, good choice. Thank you. 33. Perfect. 33. Good choice. That's a free choice, obviously. 33, good. The gentleman there, whatever you say is fine. Nice and loud, please. What would you like? 43? 23, good. That's correct. Thank you. 23. 23, perfect. Good, this is fantastic. And what number would you like? Nice and loud, please. Whatever you say is fine. Nice and loud. 21? Right, yeah. Would you like to change your mind? No, just asking, don't get angry, just checking. Is it 21? Okay, I got it. Yeah, thank you. You're very scary to be in a relationship with her, she's very strong. Get crushed. I would get crushed. What number would you like the lady there? What number? Nice and loud. 43? Good choice. 43. 43. Thank you. The lady up front. 10. Good choice as well. 10. Perfect. Did you say 10? Good. Correct answer. And the gentleman there, what number would you like? 37. Yes, thank you. 7. It's random. No idea why you picked that. And the lady there, lucky last. I'm just going to say something before you say your number. This will sound ridiculous, but please believe it. The number you're thinking of, it's wrong. Okay? I know this sounds crazy, but please go with it. If you thought of a large number, please go low. If you thought of a low number, please go high. If you're confused, go low. Okay, so free choice. Nice and loud. The new number is what? 33! It's already up here! It's got to be a different one, something low. 28, good choice, thank you, 28. Please give these 7 people a big round of applause. Have a seat. For this next piece, I need someone in the room who is very good with long words. So if you're good with long words, please raise your hands. Please genuinely raise your hands. Okay, lovely. There's a lady with a green top. Could you help me? Thank you. Please give her a big round of applause as she joins me, please. Big round of applause. Good. Thank you very much. I'll give you a hand. Thank you. And what was your name? Shannon. Thank you. Nice to meet you, Shannon. Shannon, I've got 3 books here. Yeah, 3 classics, actually. Yeah, Da Vinci Code taken out. Classic. Oh, the next one, Stephen King, The Shining. Classic. You go higher in pitch as they become more classic. And the final one, the most classic of all, as all of us in this room would know, Harry Potter. Yeah, of course. So free choice this evening. Which book would you like to choose? Oh, Da Vinci Code, cultured lady, I like it, good choice. Okay, so what we're going to do now is I need you to listen to my instructions very carefully. And you just stand just here. And Shannon, we'll begin in 3, 2, 1. In 1907, a magician performed a piece of magic that made the world believe that you could have psychic powers. And magicians used to fake this, but they made the world believe that psychic powers were real. With this very trick, it fooled an entire generation of people in the early 1900s. And this was the piece he performed. It fascinates magicians globally. And this is what he performed. Shannon, in a moment, I'd like you to open the book to a random page. Please don't open it to your favorite chapter. Don't do that. Make sure it's completely random. Random is key. Random is critical. Random, please. Go for it. Open it to a random page. Yes, open it. Good. Open it up. Good. And I want you to change your mind at least once, so that it's completely random. Change your mind one more time, just to make sure it's random. Good. And as you're looking at those 2 pages there, Shannon, I want you to look for a nice, long, interesting word. Please don't go for the first long word you see. Change your mind at least once. And when you have it, Shannon, just kind of lock that word into memory, say it a few times in your head, close the book, leave it on the floor. You've got one? Please don't forget this word. Because if you did, the trick would be crap as well. Yes. So Shannon, this is what the magician does next. With a random word picked from a random word, from a random book, the magician invites the person to the middle of the stage. Thank you, right there to the middle of the stage. And the magician says, Shannon, I want you to suspend all disbelief and believe for a second that you do have psychic powers. And you're going to beam to the audience with your eyes, saying, I don't know, the first letter. So just think of the first letter, okay? And Shannon, do this. Yeah. And look to this side of the room. Yeah, good. Both hands is better for reception. You know this. So look at this. And just kind of beam it to the audience and beam them the first letter. Audience members, as you look at this, just guess the letter in your head. Guess it in your head and look all the way through. All the way through. Push a little bit harder than that if you can. Don't get constipated, just push with your eyes. Now as it hands down, please, Shannon. In a room with 7,000+ people, statistically speaking, no more than 200 of you should get this correct. I've got a good sense for numbers. So in a moment, Shannon, I want you to just name the first letter. And if you got it correct, if you could just stand momentarily so I can get a feel for how many people got this correct. What was the first letter? Nice and loud to the audience.
A.
A. If you got A, please stand. If you got A, please stand. Please stand. Look around you. More than 200 people. So what happens is back in the early 1900s, people went, oh, psychic powers must be real. Have a seat. And then the magician did the following to anchor that belief. They made a lot of money from them. So this is what the magician did. Okay, so Shannon, face me. Face me. Would you say you're an auditory person, or would you say you're a visual person? Auditory. So we'll go with your weakness to start with, because you'll give things away easier. So I want you to focus on my palm. Lock your gaze there. Lock. Good. Now, Shannon, I want you to pretend to see the second letter in my palm. Just good. Oh, make sure it's in lower caps, not upper caps, okay? It's a rookie mistake. It's fine, Shannon. So genuinely see it in lowercase. And as you see it in my palm, it gets bigger and bolder as I move a bit closer to you. And you're almost drawing it with your eyes. And oh, thank you. I think you just gave it away. Your lips almost came together for a second. Oh, there it is. Guess, was it a B? Okay, good. Yeah, yes, good. Thank you. It's a B. Mind reading. Yes. So we'll try this again. Now, let's try auditory. Can you Actually, first of all, just in your head, think how many syllables are there in this word? Just think to yourself. Don't say it out loud, just say yes when you know the answer.
Yes.
Okay, good. So it took you about 4 or 5 seconds. Thank you. I think you gave it away, so it's either 4 or 5 syllables, it's the second per syllable. So name a random number, 4 or 5. 5? Under pressure, we crack and we tell the truth. It's 5 syllables. So thank you for that, Shannon. 5 syllables, thank you. I can read you like a book. Good. So Shannon, this next bit, can you balance with your eyes closed? Okay, can you try that for me? Can you kind of feet shoulder width apart? And can you close your eyes at this point? And just keep them closed as of now. And Shannon, all I'm going to do for this next bit, if you don't mind, can I just move your head behind your back if that's okay? So Shannon, here's the thing. In a moment, I want you, just in your head, without moving your lips, I want you to say the word over and over and over again. When I tap you on the left shoulder, not yet. I need to see the difference. So nothing. Start saying the word over and over again, starting wait. Now. Good. Keep going. Every single syllable nice and slow. Nice and clear. Good. And Shannon, just slowly in your head, let that voice get louder and louder, just in your head. Louder than that. Imagine yourself screaming this at me. Imagine my... Stop. If I get this wrong, it's Shannon's fault. Just want to make sure we're super clear on this so you don't go, oh, who got this wrong? It's... Could you close your eyes for a second? I'm going to show them what it is. Close your eyes. It should be this. It can be something else. Should be this because of the bit at the end that should... Could you open your eyes? Did you change your mind a couple of times? Yay, I said change your mind, but that's cool. Oh, good. That's great. No, it's... Oh, thank you. Good, okay. Thank you. That was right then. Oh, bugger, it's probably too late. In a very loud voice, could you tell them what the word was?
Absent-minded.
Yes, it was absent-minded. Give her a big round of applause. Thank you very much indeed, gentlemen. I appreciate it. Big round of applause, please. Good. All right. In 2012, there was nothing I cared more for in the world than this trick. I had to know how this was done. I didn't care about anything else. This was my impossible goal. This was the magic moment that I needed to create. And I remember I read about this in a newspaper with 4 sentences from 1907. I photocopied it from the library. They had a collection of old newspapers. Took it all to my magic buddies, all of my magic buddies, and said, we must know this. This is the closest we can get to mind reading. And they all looked at me and they said, bloody hell, mate. Book like that is 100,000 words. Can't be done, that's 1 out of 100,000. You're an idiot. Obviously, I removed them from my top 5. And please clap that up, because it's real, yes. And here's the thing. The moment I found different perspectives in my life, the moment I changed my top 5, I found groups of people who helped me discover the method, who helped me discover the right path. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to teach you how this trick works. And I'm not teaching you because I want to reveal magic. I'm teaching you because I want to show you how to create the impossible. You too in your life will be called upon to create the impossible. But how do you do it? How do magicians do it? How do entrepreneurs do it? The formula is embedded in how this trick is done. So the first step you have to take when you're creating something impossible is you must fundamentally believe that it can be done. You must believe it can be done. But why is this belief thing so important? It's important because your beliefs dictate your actions in life. Your beliefs dictate the actions in your life. So when you believe it's done, it dictates your actions. You take the next step. And only when you take the first step can you see step 2. You cannot see step 2 from step 0. You must be on step 1. You must be on the journey. And then you're on step 1 and you finally see step 2. What's the first thing I told Shannon to do? I said, open the book to a random page. And then I kept saying, random. Do you know what random means? Somewhere in the middle. All all of a sudden it means it's not in the first 25% or the last 25%. Just like that, you take the second step, it's 1 out of 50,000, not 100,000. It's a lot easier, right? You lose your mind on step 2, dye your hair blonde and go crazy. But why do you keep going? Why do you not give up in the face of failure? Why? Because you believe it can be done. Think about someone you believe in. Think about something you believe in. When times get hard, that is not the time to give in. That is the time to continue, stay on track. Why? Because if you stay on track, you'll go along the journey, you keep an open heart, you keep an open mind, you meet someone with a different perspective. It was a linguist I met, and she said, Vin, you are an idiot. The next step is so obvious. Just ask them to pick a long word, not a short word. I hated her so much that day. And I said, what do you mean, linguist, who's making me angry? She says, Vin, a long word is a word with more than 6 letters. Anything with less than 6 letters looks visually short. So if I remove every single word that has less than 6 letters in this middle 50%, how many words have I removed? 90% of the book is gone now. It's not 1 out of 50,000. It's 1 out of 5,000. The next 2 steps will blow your minds as to how this is done. But I'm not sharing it. No, of course not. Because how this trick is done is not important. The most important thing is this first step. Far too often in our lives, when we look at the goals we'd like to achieve, when we look at the dreams we'd like to achieve, we give impossibility the benefit of the doubt. The impossible is not real. I've studied deception for the last 15 years of my life. The impossibility, the impossible does not exist. We create it. The biggest illusion you ever experience in your life is not one that I perform for you. No, I'm just not that good. It's not even David Copperfield. He won't perform for you the best illusion or the biggest illusion in your life. The biggest illusion in your life is when you tell yourself something cannot be done. It's not real. You create it. My friends, 3 things. The first one came in 2 parts. 3 things. Perspective is power. You're the direct reflection of the top 5 people you spend time with. And the final point is your beliefs dictate your actions. This is where it all comes together. So if you know that your beliefs dictate your actions, where do your beliefs come from? Your beliefs come from the top 5 people you spend time with. What you currently believe is possible for you comes from the top 5 people you spend time with. So what does that mean? It means if you change the 5 people you spend time with, it changes the beliefs you have about what is possible, it changes your perspective, therefore changes your action, therefore changes your life. My message here is clear and simple. Anything in this life is possible. And I must do one thing to prove to you that anything is possible. By doing the most impossible thing. And the most impossible thing is in that box. I'm allowed to touch it, it's okay, it's my show. There was a lady who joined me on stage before who played the coin game with me. Is she still here by any chance? Is she still here? Yes, could you join me back on stage please if you don't mind? Please, we'll give her a big round of applause please if you don't mind. I'd love to show you what's inside. Tucked away, I'll save it so it's a bit of a surprise. I'm just kidding, kids. I was going to pretend and scare you that it was an animal. But you see, thank you for that. Kellen, I've got a scroll inside a jar, a scroll of paper. If you could just take that scroll, we don't open it just yet. And if you could join me just over here, Kellen. My friends, before the keynote, I write down a few things about how I think this presentation is going to go. And then I write it on a scroll, I roll it up, and I keep it in a jar in a box, in full view. And I wrote a few things about this keynote this evening, and I wrote a few things about you, Caitlin. So hang on to this. The first thing I wrote was, who would think of the number 7 and then 3? Who would think of 7 and 3? You did. So I wrote a few things about Caitlin. The first thing I wrote was you would, and you're not going to know how I know this. This is going to blow your mind. But I knew that you would have purple lanyard. might make them go, oh, he can only guess one thing. So I wrote a couple more things down. The next thing I wrote was that you'd have brown hair. Brown hair indeed. She's clearly not impressed by this. So then I pushed it a little bit further and said, let's just go for a little bit more specific. And then I wrote that you have a yellow top. I might remind you, this is magic, not stalking, obviously. So you can hang on to this side now. And then, here's the craziest part. Then I got her to think of an animal. What animal did you think of? So let me just hold this, I'll just get you the microphone. What animal did you think of?
A zebra.
And hang on to this side. And you all laughed at me as if I didn't know. Do you remember this? It was about 37 minutes in. Yes. No, I knew it was a zebra. So I drew it. I know. Can you confirm? They might not see, it's a bit further. Is that a zebra?
Sure.
Yes. That's what they look like in Australia. Australian zebra. Great. But again, I thought you might doubt me, so just in case, I had to make sure I wrote it down. Now, my friends, I saw a few of you writing down notes. If you want any of my slides, if you want a full video of my keynote, my details are up on screen and will stay on screen from now if you'd like them. But you see, what is the most impossible thing in the world? What is it, statistically speaking? The most impossible thing in the world is not you achieving the things you desire. The most impossible thing in the world, statistically speaking, is winning the Oz Lotto. Where you have to get a string of 7 numbers in a row correct, between 1 and 45. So Caitlin, I've written 7 numbers up there on stage. Could you read for me the lowest numerical number, moving towards the highest, please? Starting from the lowest one at a time, nice and slow. I'll ask for them as we go. What's the first one? I wrote down some numbers myself.
10.
Wait.
21. 23.
Just building suspense, yes, yeah.
28.
You could have changed your minds, but you didn't. You just stuck with it. You don't know why.
33.
And at this point, you've won $38.50. Dad's on the chair at this point, normally. Yes, next one.
37.
And the final one, where are you, 43? Please stand. 43. Where were you, 43? In a very loud voice, like a crescendo at the end of an orchestra, the final number, the odds of this is 1 out of 52 million. The final number is 43, of course it was. Big round of applause, please. It was... Oh, jeez. Stand, please. Power of the pause. We got this. Don't lie. Don't lie. Were you thinking of 42 before 43? Don't lie. Not even to save the show. Just thought I'd open a window, but yes, Don. I'm so glad you're super stubborn, because otherwise this next bit wouldn't really make sense then, would it? It was 43, give her a big round of applause. And Caitlin Clark. Very much indeed, Caitlin. Big round of applause for Caitlin. Thank you. Now, perspective, influence, and beliefs. I'll leave you with one final thought. Does everyone know who Steve Jobs is? Oh, Apple. One of the best charities in the world. Yeah. No, seriously. You give them money every 6 months and you get a free iPad. Yeah. No charity does this. But Steve Jobs had a wonderful quote in 1998 as he returned to Apple after being fired as CEO. And this quote that he said has inspired me for more than 15 years. And I hope it will inspire you too, as it sums up how we think. He said, those people in the world who are crazy enough to believe they can change the world, they are the people you actually do. And those of you in this room who are crazy enough to believe you can create the impossible, that you can create the life you dream of, if you're crazy enough to believe it, my friends, you're the people.